War used to be a game, until one man turned it into pure, unrelenting slaughter. For generations across the sun-scorched plains of southern Africa, battles followed a script. Warriors lined up at a safe distance, chests puffed, trading insults more than blows. They hurled long assegai spears that arced harmlessly through the sky. When honor was satisfied, both sides turned and went home. No rivers of blood, no fields of corpses. No annihilation, just ritual bravado and mutual survival. Everyone knew the rules. Everyone honored them. Then Shaka Zulu arrived. He didn't bring magic. He didn't bring guns. He didn't even bring overwhelming numbers. He brought one terrifying idea. What if war wasn't about display, but about destruction? In this video, we are stepping inside the mind of the outcast who rewrote the rules of conflict. The man who took a ritual game and turned it into industrialized killing. This is how Shaka Zulu built the world's deadliest army. Born around 1787 into a minor Zulu clan, Shaka entered life as an outcast, a stain, a mistake. His father, the chief Senzanga Kona, rejected him outright illegitimate. Born to Nandi of the neighboring Langeni clan, not yet a proper wife. Shaka and his mother were cast out, forced into exile, wandering from kraal to kraal. Mocked as fatherless, beaten by other boys, starved, humiliated, Shaka grew up staring straight into the face of powerlessness. In a world where lineage meant protection, he had none. Hunger clawed at his belly. Rage burned in his chest. While other youths herded cattle and courted girls, Shaka watched warriors spar from afar, throwing spears, missing, retreating, boasting, living. And in the depths of his soul, a dark question took root. Why are we pretending this is war? He did not crave glory. He craved safety, an ironclad guarantee that no one could ever make him feel that helpless again. Every reform he forged, every brutal discipline he imposed, every life he took stemmed from the same terror. The memory of being unprotected, expendable, nothing. But fate intervened in the form of a visionary leader, Dingiswayo, king of the powerful Mthethwa people. Around 1802, the young Shaka, still hardened by years of rejection, joined the Mthethwa army as a warrior. Dingiswayo quickly recognized the outcast's raw talent, ferocity, and unyielding discipline. He took Shaka under his wing, promoting him rapidly and giving him command experience in campaigns. Under Dingiswayo's mentorship, Shaka honed his ideas about close combat and unbreakable loyalty ideas that would soon eclipse even his mentor's vision. When Shaka finally seized power in 1816, he did not merely lead, he reinvented. First came the weapon that would redefine killing. To understand his dominance, look at the tools. Before him, Zulu warriors carried the assegai, a long, slender spear designed to be thrown. Effective at distance, useless up close. Battles were skirmishes, brief, inconclusive. Shaka looked at this and saw failure. Legend says he took an assegai, held it in his hands, and snapped it in half. Then he introduced the iklwa, short, heavy, brutal stabbing spear. Its blade was wide, its shaft thick, its purpose singular, to enter flesh. The name iklwa echoes the sound it made when pulled from a body. By removing the ability to fight from a distance, he removed retreat. From a long throwing spear to a deadly stabbing weapon. Every swing demanded confrontation. No more throwing and running. No more pride without consequence. If you fought, you closed the distance, locked eyes, killed, or died. This rewired the Zulu mind. Fear no longer lived at the edge of the battlefield. It lived inside the enemy. This was not an isolated innovation. It was part of a full combat system. Zulu shields became larger and heavier, used to hook enemy shields, control bodies, and create openings for stabbing. Combat turned into close quarters grappling and stabbing, physical domination, and psychological collapse. Shaka didn't just invent a weapon. He invented a new form of killing. But a weapon without strategy is chaos. This is where Shaka's genius truly emerges. He developed a formation so elegant, so simple, so lethal, that centuries later, European generals would study it in disbelief. This strategy is called the buffalo horns, or in Zulu, Izimpondo Zankamo. Picture it, the chest. A wall of the strongest, most battle-hardened warriors. Surging forward like a living avalanche, their charge was not about speed. It was about unbreakable pressure, pinning the foe in place, crushing any hope of maneuver or flight, while the enemy locked eyes with death in front. The horns, younger, faster, hungrier, swept silently out to the flanks, invisible until the trap snapped shut. They curled around like iron claws, sealing the rear, cutting off escape. Behind them waited the loins, reserves of iron discipline, sitting with backs deliberately turned to the battle to avoid bloodlust. They watched, they waited, and when the horns locked and panic erupted, they struck. The final merciless hammer blow. No escape, no mercy, only encirclement, only annihilation. Shaka didn't just outfight his enemies, he outmoved them. Shaka understood something timeless. Speed is power. So he did something unthinkable. He banned sandals. No footwear, no protection. His warriors marched barefoot over thorns, sharp rocks, burning earth, up to 50 miles a day. If you complained, executed. If you limped, executed. If you showed weakness, executed. Cruel? Yes. Effective? Devastatingly. The result was an army that could appear where no one expected. Days early, faster than cavalry, fresh, organized. Entire villages would wake up and realize the Zulu were already there. But speed wasn't the real transformation. What Shaka destroyed next was far more dangerous. Before Shaka, loyalty was to family, to clan, to tradition. Shaka erased that. He reorganized society itself. Men were grouped into age-based regiments called amabutho. You didn't fight for your father anymore. You fought for the king. Your identity, your status, your future, all came from service. Farmers became soldiers. Villages became barracks. The Zulu state became a weapon. The result was a shockwave. His training resembled proto-military science. Endurance marches, pain tolerance, desensitization to death, group identity replacement. He wasn't just training warriors, he was rewiring nervous systems. Shaka did not merely defeat his neighbors, he devoured them. Entire tribes vanished or were absorbed. Chiefs who had ruled for generations were dead or kneeling within a single season. In a few years, the map of southern Africa was not redrawn. It was obliterated. This unleashed total, chaotic displacement, known as the Mefeking by historians, meaning the crushing. Shaka triggered it through his expansions, causing refugee movements, famine migrations, secondary wars, and new militarized states. Fleeing groups didn't just run. They formed new kingdoms, like the Sotho or Ndebele. Shaka didn't just conquer. He destabilized the entire regional ecosystem, like a geopolitical earthquake. Decades later, in 1879, British forces marched into Zulu territory armed with rifles, artillery, and imperial certainty. They expected submission. Instead, at Isandlwana, they encountered the ghost of Shaka and were annihilated. At the Battle of Isandlwana, Zulu impis, drawing directly from Shaka's tactics, delivered a shock that reverberated across the British Empire. Disciplined formations, speed, and total encirclement overwhelmed a modern army. It wasn't just firepower. It was encirclement psychology, morale collapse, panic, chains of command breakdown. The battle wasn't lost by bullets, it was lost by belief. The worst defeat ever inflicted on the British Army by an indigenous force. This proved that strategy beats technology. Discipline beats numbers, and ideas once unleashed can shake empires. Shaka Zulu did not just win battles. He rewrote the rules of war. Strategy over technology, discipline over numbers, ruthless vision over tradition. But power like that never comes without a cost. The same mind that turned the Zulu into the most feared army in Southern Africa would soon turn inward. The executions, the paranoia, the purges, the grief that shattered his sanity, and the betrayal that plunged the Zulu Kingdom into chaos. If you want to see how Shaka's obsession devoured his own bloodline and how his death almost destroyed the nation he built, make sure you subscribe. Because in the next episode of this series, we're diving into the fall of Shaka Zulu, and it's darker than anything you've heard so far. Welcome to Untold African History.